Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cassandra, aka the Daily Wealth Ninja, and I'm here today. First of all, let me make sure you can hear me before we get started. Can I hear me? Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so as I was beginning to say, I'm here today because last year I decided that I wanted to dedicate this year to empowering at least 10 people to become debt-free by 2020. There are so many different ways to do this, not only by eliminating debt, but also by increasing your wealth. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite ways to do so, or opportunities to do so rather, is by something called Forex. Now, if you're not sure what Forex is exactly, it's basically the exchange of currencies, right? You see the Forex at airports, but it's not something that you have to be mathy about. You don't have to be technical to do it. It's something you can do from your phone 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and it is so simple. Once you get it, it's just going to be, you're going to be golden. And it's one of my favorite ways to create more wealth because you've probably heard this parable before, right? If you give a man or a woman a fish, they eat for a meal or a day. But if you teach them to fish, they feed their families for generations because they're able to teach them this skill set. And that's how I feel about Forex. It is the only skill set that I've ever found that allows you to potentially create additional income without having to be a salesperson, and you can teach to anybody, and you don't have to find your niche or whatever, or your niche. Hey Lexus, thank you so much for joining me today. So let me know where you're coming in from. While I'm pulling some stuff up, I actually want to share something with you. I hope you'll get a kick out of that. So I am a dog owner. I have a sweet little angel, and he loves to chew bones. That's totally a dog thing. But I wanted to share this with you because I think this is hilarious. So here's a normal size bone that we give him. Here's what he somehow gnaws it down to. Does your dog do anything weird like this? If you have a dog or a cat, I'd be curious to know. But I crack up about this because he'll like nibble it down to like just nothing. It cracks me up. So enough about the amusingness about dogs. Let me go ahead and share with you what I wanted to share with you today about Forex. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I guess I better check my cell phone to make sure. I'll check in a second. So this is the Euro Australian dollar, or the EURAUD. So earlier today during lunch, I use a system that not only teaches me how to trade, but I also have like over 60 hours of live mentorship available to me every week, and tools. And one of the tools that I have is basically a web analyzer. It's an online tool I can access from my phone, my laptop, and it will give me potential signals about when to buy or when to sell. Now, a lot of the ones that I've looked at this week have actually gone the other direction, and I caught most of those that went the other direction because of the education that I've used. But this one was actually correct, and unfortunately I didn't put the balloon on to say when this was called. But when I saw it, I put in my call here, and as you can see, within an hour or so, let's see, 15, 30, it's an hour, not even an hour and a half. I think it was like an hour and 20, but it just crashed through. Now, this is about, I think, let's see, 36? Is it really 36 pips? Anyway, it went, actually, could be 30, 58, 30, yeah, 30, 36 pips. So it crashed through there in a very short amount of time. Now, how did I actually know this is going to happen? Well, first of all, I'm not Miss Cleo. There is no guaranteed success in Forex. It is an investment. But the more you understand how to read the charts and the more you understand how things work, the better equipped you are to make a wise investment decision. And that's what happened here. So let me go ahead and zoom out real quick and show you a little bit about what's going on. This is currently the 15-minute chart. Now this may look like a lot of stuff going on, so I'm going to walk you through it. Oh, and now while I'm doing that too, let me do this. I always forget to bring that up. So as you can see here, there are, let's take this one off, and this one off. So right now what you're seeing There we go. All right, so right now what you're seeing, this is the price line of this particular pair on the 15-minute chart, okay? This red line is what's called a trend line because it went from the top of this trend through a couple of the wicks so that it confirmed support, excuse me, resistance. And actually it broke through, which is great because it should be going up. But that's not where we're at, right? During the day, it was about here that this was called. And so I set this trend line to go through here. And as you can see, it started to form, I think this is called a descending wedge. And it could have done one of two things, right? It could have broken out here, which all the indicators that I was looking at said, no, this is going to be a sell. Or, and actually, if it had done that, it more than likely would have done something like this and then come back up. Or it would have crashed through like it did right here. So this is how you read these charts. You know that when a certain pattern comes up, this is how it's usually anticipated to go. Maybe 80% of the time, maybe 60% of the time. This is all stuff that you don't have to figure out yourself because someone else has done it for you, right? So I made that trend line because I followed the education that I've been given. It's a huge blessing. I also, that's the 4 hour. So I started all this actually at the monthly and went down and did all my stuff. But at the 4 hour, this is about where I started because I've been following an amazing trader. Her name is Lee Allen. She's one of the educators at this system as well. And I've been following her moving averages strategy. Hey, Debbie, thanks so much for joining me today. And so I leveraged some of her strategy as well as some Leon Davies' strategy. Both of these are educators. Leon is also one of the traders that is part of one of the tools that we used for better potential trades as well. And so his strategy is what's called naked trading. And it's not when you're naked, it's when you don't have a whole lot of stuff on your chart. Now for me, I tend to put a lot of stuff on my chart, and sometimes when I do that, I second guess myself. But if I take a step back and take each thing separately, it's a lot easier to get clear, right? So I was using both of what I had learned from them this week for what I'm sharing with you today. So I had gone to the 4 hour because Leah talked about she trades off of the 4 hour and the 1 hour with her moving average strategy. And so I drew the trend lines suggested by Leon Davies to kind of start letting me visually see what's going on. So I drew this upper trend line here, this one right here, that starts from the top. It hit there, it hit there. Ooh, that's awesome. FYI, something to look at. So like I said, I drew that line, then I drew this one with these touch points. The reason I'm excited about that is that if this hits here, and it's gonna like just go like that. So I drew those trend lines, and then I went down to the 1 hour, and at the time, it looked like this on the 1 hour. So that red and green is where I'm at, right? So these things hadn't, let me do this. Replay starting from, oh no, that's just gonna be on the one chart. Never mind. We'll do it on the 15. So anyway, I did the lines, I did the trend lines, I went down all the way through the different charts, 30-minute, 15-minute, and I started trading off of the 5. Play. Okay, no, I don't want it to go. Okay, so this is about where I was at, right? I got in, and the reason why there's space between where I got in and where I started to make profit is because you have to use what's called a broker. And this broker usually will take commissions out, and there's usually there can be some other type of fees. So depending on what broker you're using, be sure to read the fine print and know what your investment is going to require in terms of cost through your broker. So this spread right here is what was required to get into this trade. So I got in, I had, oh, the other things that I had. Oops. Because that's not all I was using, right? So here's what it looked like. I had my bands on. I think that's all 5 minutes. So, oh well. My SARs were on. So what SARs are, I've done 2 videos on this already. If you want the information for that, just say plus sign, and I'll give it to you. If you're watching this on YouTube and it's repurposed, I'll be sure that there's a card up there for you. But parabolic SARs, basically in a gist, tell you the direction of the trend that it's going, and it helps with potential take profits as well as stop losses. Again, I've got training on this already, so let me know if you want it. So this was telling me that it was going into a sell, which is why I went into a sell. Then I also had my Bollinger Bands on. So as you can see, is it this one? Or was it that one? Hold on. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if, nope. There it is. Okay, that's good to know. So it looks like, and the reason why I'm a little confused by this is because I have made some changes today. So why am I confused? Well, this is usually the Bollinger Band, and I mean, it is the Bollinger Band. So what you're seeing here are these outer bands that are indications of support and resistance, but I have seen them expand, and that's dependent upon the volatility. Is it volatility? No, volume, not volatility, my bad. So there's also normally a line that goes through here, but I turned it off because I have my SMAs, which is one of my favorite indicators because it's multiple moving averages in one. It blew my mind when I found this because most of the time you have to add a single individual indicator on here per moving average, but this one allows you to do multiple simple moving averages at once. Oh, and these are simple. These aren't even exponential. Interesting. So I thought I was using exponential, but apparently I was wrong. Perfectly fine though, because it was still successful. So what are you seeing here? So this line right here is the 200 simple moving average. As you can see from the green indicates that it's in a buy. So you can see right here that it was green up until it turned red about here, and we see it crash, right? We see it red here, and we see that it's coming down, okay? So the 200 moving average is a really great indication of trend. I think all of them are. And then I'm sorry, that's the 50. That's not the 200, my bad. That's the 50 moving average. The 50 moving average is really great with trend because you can see how close it is to the price line. The 200 moving average is good for, pretty sure it's also good for trend, but not quite as strong because it's a longer number of averaged information. I'm not going to go into all the details because honestly, it really doesn't matter. I mean, when you find a winning strategy, that's all that's really important, right? Well, that and risk management. So I thought maybe I might have that note on here for you about that, but I think it's actually in my other notes. So I use these two for a couple of different ways. So let me go ahead and show you. So like I said, I got in, the signal was for a sell, confirmed this information because the 200 was on top, the 50 moving average was below the 200. So when the 200, like I said, 200 was on top, The 50 was below. And again, this is not math. This is just saying that this is an indication of it going to continue to go down, right? So that was one indication. There's actually several of them, you know, because the parabolic stars were saying sell, the moving averages were saying sell, and there was a few others. So I did my sell, and then I let it go. We see that it bounced off this line right here, which is the 4-hour support line that I plotted. We see that it tries to bounce again, and then it started to buy, and it keeps trying to go into this support resistance line. Well, then it started to go up, but if you still see this, as well as the MACD, this isn't going to be the MACD, but the MACD was also saying it was in a sell, so I did my best to stay calm. This wasn't my demo account, but I treat my demo account as if it were live money, and I just stayed patient and let it go. And you can see it's right here. Let me zoom in on this so you can really see what just happened. Okay. Hey, Anne, thanks so much for joining. So right here, not only did it go from an uptrend and it's starting to go into a downtrend, but it bounced off of this line. That's the trend line that I created on the 15-minute time chart between the different candles. So it bounced off of that trend line just like it was expected to, because this is a support and resistance line. You can use it as one. We see that it came down, it had a long wick, which also means, right? So this candle right here, where it has the box up top and then the long wick, this is called a hammer. And a hammer candle is an indication of a reverse in trend, especially from, I believe it's an uptrend. So that was another indication this is going to go down. So it kept going, right? It tried to go up. Sellers won that one. Buyers won that one. Ooh, sellers really won that one. And it kept going until this hit. And when this hit at the 5-minute mark, this is in 5 minutes, it fell that far. So I have a 5-day boot camp on basics, and so it goes into your open, high, low, close, and everything else like that. So if you want that, say boot camp, I'll be sure to get it to you. But again, if you're watching this on YouTube as a repurposed content, there'll be a card for you. So here's what I'm talking about with your OHLC. So for this candle, it opened here. The high was at the top of this wick. The low was at the bottom of this wick. It almost actually hit the parabolic czar, and it closed here. So in that time frame, it went, let's just go from top to bottom and not even include the high and low. It went 43 pips in 5 minutes. 43 pips in 5 minutes. That is nuts. That's one of the reasons why I love Forex, because it's very much like stocks, it's like crypto. But instead of what stocks most people hold on stocks, Forex you can get in and get out, because it can move just as much like this. But here's the thing. It's a risky investment, right? It could go the other way. So that's why it's so important for you to not only get the education on how to leverage this, but also know your risk levels, also know how to calculate that, have mentorship, and be educated in your financial investments, because in this day and age, you can't just trust the banks to help you. You can't trust, to always have a job. You can't, rely on what most people before us used to rely on. You've got to find ways to leverage your time, leverage your money, and learn how to make it work for you. And Forex is one of the best ways I know how. Now, again, as my little banner has been saying, right? I am not a licensed financial advisor. I went to school for programming. I cannot tell you what you can and cannot, or should and should not do with your money. Past results do not guarantee nor dictate your future success. I am simply sharing with you what's possible, what my results are. I am showing you what you can do when you have the right tools, when you have the right knowledge, and you have the right mentorship and community. So if you found value in this, please like this video, share it with someone you feel would benefit from it today, and be sure that if you're on Facebook, there should be a button to make sure that you are alerted when I go live. Hey Jeff, hey Sergio, thank you so much for joining. If you're on YouTube, there should be a subscribe button right here when you watch the repurposed content. And if you want access to the education, the tools, the direct mentorship, and the community that I utilize to learn how to actually read the charts like what I've been sharing with you, then please reach out to me or leave a comment below. Let me know you're Forex ready, FX ready. Let me know, and I will be sure to share that information with you, because this is changing lives, and I have been floored by how many people do not know about this skill set. It's something that was not available to us until about 20 years ago when the internet was created, because before then, the only way you could have been in this game is to have had $1 million to just blow like water. So again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Cassandra, aka the Daily Wealth Ninja. I am on a mission to empower at least 10 people to become debt-free by 2020. Reach out to me if you want more information on that. Have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one.